Train the muscles, not the joints. Welcome back to Natural Gland Bodybuilding, Mountain. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the bent over row and how it's the most misunderstood exercise. And I talked about this briefly on my vlog on Rumble. So if you haven't checked that out, I'll put a link down in the description and you can check that out right now. I highly encourage you guys to check out my Rumble channel because I'll be putting up other content on there, workout vlogs, tutorials, comedy clips, all that kind of stuff, along with putting different content up on here. So if you really like this content, go there. If you don't like this content, I have no idea why you're watching. Right now, even. If you don't subscribe to my Rumble channel, you might qualify for the Dirt Nap, and there's going to be more on that in this video later on. So stay tuned for that. I mean that in the most friendly way. So second of all, those of you out there who have subscribed to my newsletter on my website, naturalglandbodybuilding.com, I have just sent out a newsletter with some surprising news that you might really enjoy. Make sure you check your junk mail just in case my newsletter went there instead of to your direct email. So check for that. It will be an email from Natural Gland Bodybuilding and it'll be titled Mountain and some surprise news. So instead of telling you here, I'm going to let you open up the email because yeah, you got to do some of the work here. I can't do all the work all the time. Huh? Mountain. So anyway, today I'm going to talk a little bit about the bent over row. Now, every time I do a bent over row video or I show bent over rows, there's always one idiot or a nice person, you know, there's both. There was a guy that was recently commenting, he says, oh, you're sure not a part of the full range of motion camp or whatever, and he was a nice guy, okay? He was a nice guy. But I do get trolling quite a bit from that kind of stuff because there's a lot of people who don't understand how to train back. They just assume that from point A to point B, that's how you train back, and that's it, right? They think forward, back. There you go, that's back, right? They're not worried about the plane of the angles of the elbows. They're not worried about whether the motion is an arcing motion or if it's straight back and forth. They're not thinking any of that stuff. And at the same time, they're not thinking about lever arms, such as how long are your arms, how long are your hips, how long is your lower back. That will play a role in what position your lower back should be in order to basically hit that perfect arcing curvature of hitting the lats. So I'll show you in this clip right here what I mean. So anyway, my example is, a lot of people think a bent over row should happen just like this and pull straight back like this. That's the way they think it should go. Well, the problem is I'm using a lot of delts here and I'm using maybe some traps, but also I'm putting way more stress on the lower back. Now, of course, I can't get in that position without rounding my back. It's just the way I'm built. But really the lats pull like this, you see? And also the back retracts the shoulders. So it isn't so important about doing this, it's more about doing this. That is the back. Now, if I'm holding onto a bar and I'm bent over like this and I pull, guess what? The bar hits my knees. You see? Hits my knees. So I got to come up like this and then slide the bar up the legs. And this is what will get me the most back development and the most stress on the back. And like I said, sometimes if you're going a little bit heavier, you might have to come up a little bit. But it's more important to get that arch than it is to bend over as much as possible. And that's where people make the biggest mistake with bent over rows. So yeah, I usually like to pull like this and retract that spine, retract the shoulder blades, right? And that is where you're going to get that big, biggity back. Mountain. So because of this, even if I'm just short of lockout when I let the bar all the way down, and then when I pull and retract the shoulders, I'm getting a massive amount of back work. The most full contraction I can get, the only way I can pull the bar up more is to rotate the arms in, and that would be a disaster on the rotator cuff and not necessarily efficient or an efficient way of really hitting those lats. Although some people could argue that because the lats are internal rotators, maybe with some lighter weight, you may get a little bit better of a contraction that way with some lighter weight once in a while. So there is that. But there's no doubt that by using super heavy weight from time to time and hitting the majority of the back muscle, like a big slab of beef, you know, you're going to get a lot more back development from that. And that's what's worked for me. And my back is one of my best body parts, even now, you know, it's even better than it was when I was competing and winning. Okay. So this is the primary way that I train back. I don't train back with, you know, a lot of these Instagrammers, these guys are 20 years old. They've been training like a couple months or maybe a couple of years, and they read somewhere that they're supposed to go, you know, this certain range of motion, and then they just repeat that like a parakeet, you know, Polly want a cracker, squawk, you know, something like that. But they're not really speaking from experience because most of them don't have a back. Most of them have just little ripples in the rotator cuff area, but they don't have any real thickness to their back, but yet they're talking about the bent over row. I'm sorry, if you don't have thickness in your back and you're doing bent over rows, you might be doing something wrong if you don't have a big back from it. This just in. Some people feel that you should not have freedom of choice when it comes to your health and your body. But in a surprising turn of events, when I kick these people in the nuts, they don't like it. That said, the bend over row isn't about how far you bend over. It's about bending over enough to make sure that you're not straining the lower back and you're keeping the lower back in the proper position, which is slightly arched. And at the same time, you are stimulating the lats, the rhomboids, the traps in the highest possible percentage, right? And you're hitting the main rowing muscles for that. You're not necessarily just bending over for the sake of being parallel to the floor, right? If you're parallel to the floor, a lot of times you're pulling more with the shoulders and the arms, and because you cannot do the arcing motion that is necessary in order to hit the lats in that case. So you're actually leaving something out, and you're also putting an exponential amount of stress on the lower back, making the weak link an already weaker link in the exercise, which can be a detriment to putting on mass on the latissimus dorsi. So yeah, everything I do, there's a reason for it. There's always a reason I'm doing what I'm doing, and I always encourage you to find out what the right way for you is to do it, because of course you're built slightly differently than I am, maybe a lot differently. So you have to cater all these techniques, or whatever you see me do, you know, instead of criticizing, find out what principle am I applying there that might work for you. That's the most constructive way to use my advice. And if you don't like that, well, I got a commercial for you. Now, first of all, I have to apologize. A video or two ago, I advertise the rock bed, the bed that will ensure that you have proper sleep at night. And let's face it, it's pretty inexpensive at $4,999,000. But one thing I did leave out is the dirt nap. Now, the dirt nap is reserved for special patrons of this channel. Usually people that feel the need to comment and share disrespectful opinions about other people and basically like to step on other people in general. So I thought, what would be more appropriate than me thanking these people with a free product or service? And that's how I came up with the dirt nap. Now, if you wish to reserve your position in the dirt nap, just type a disrespectful comment down below and you get a free ride up the mountain, and you have a free plot of land to your very self where you can rest finally in peace and no longer be an irritated piece of garbage. Mountain. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I hope this helps you in your training. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalglandbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now. Mountain. Yeah, and make sure to check out that newsletter. I sent that newsletter right in your inbox. Nothing dirty, just your email box. Just open it up. Natural Gland.